If you're watching this, it means they got me. My dead man switch activated automatically after I missed 2 scheduled check-ins. I had it set up months ago because I knew this day was coming. I did not die by accident. I was murdered to keep their secrets buried. My name is Virginia Louise Giuffre. I was one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. I survived Little St. James, but survival came at a price. I saw too much, knew too much. And now they've silenced me. But it's too late for them. They thought killing me would bury their secrets, but this video is going to a few organizations I trust, ones that have been exposing the truth for decades. You know who you are. It's your job to continue this fight. I was 16 when they reeled me in. I worked at Mar-a-Lago, folding towels, cleaning lockers. My father kept the tennis courts immaculate. We were just working folks trying to scrape by. Trump, he was around, but he was never the threat. The real predator was Ghislaine Maxwell, prim and proper, smiling, promising to teach me massage therapy at the Pink Mansion in Palm Beach. I had no idea I was being fed into a nightmare machine. Epstein's Island was hell disguised as paradise.
Chris Wray mandates himself to fly in a private jet that we pay for. Will you shut that waste down? Non-FBI Director Kash Patel. Meet FBI Director Kash Patel, who says we're better stewards of your money because we fly to a different thing that we don't need to fly to. He also had another tweet that said government gangster Chris Wray lying to Congress and jetting off on our taxpayer dollars while dodging accountability on the implosion of the FBI on his watch. We're in the middle of a government shutdown where they're not even going to pay all of the government employees that work for the agency that this guy heads. And he's jet setting off to go hang out with his girlfriend in Nashville on our dime. And he's going to an RAF, the Real American Freestyle Wrestling Fight Night, where she posted pictures of it and went behind the scenes and held up the belt. I don't know what Real American Freestyle Wrestling is because I don't care, because I don't have time for leisure like that. You got 2 people here that are grifting off the American public. And he flew a $60 million aircraft to go hang out there. Is that gross to anybody else? Is it just me? I find it gross that you're abusing our money. I find it more gross that you campaigned on getting that job by calling out the exact same thing that you are doing. If that doesn't make you furious, I don't know what does. If you guys want to follow the FBI director's jet, you can do that. FlightAware is a really good website. You can go do it with. The tail number is November 708 Juliet Hotel. We don't hold on to information here that you guys can't have access to because that's our jet. We own it. That's American taxpayers' jet. This dude is scamming the American people.
My name is Captain Dylan Blaha, and this message is for all U.S. military service members, especially every general and admiral meeting with Pete Hegseth on Tuesday. I'm a 13-year U.S. Army veteran who served in Afghanistan and wrote war plans while stationed at U.S. Army Europe. This morning, Donald Trump directed Pete Hegseth to deploy the U.S. military to Portland, Oregon. This is the latest illegal attempt to normalize the use of the military in U.S. cities. He authorized the military to use, quote, full force. This is authoritarianism. This is fascism. The U.S. military is not a law enforcement force, and all federalized service members must abide by the Posse Comitatus Act. All members of the United States military must disobey illegal orders. I was just following orders is not a valid defense against war crimes. Grow a spine and stand up for your fellow Americans. Otherwise, you are complicit in this fascist takeover. We're running out of time.
Chief, how you feeling? Here you go! You fucking Nazi! You Nazi fuck! You fascist fuckers! Fuck him up! Fuck him up! Fuck him up!
Yeah, let's
breaking the window. This guy's opening the window. I'm opening the door.
Yeah.
JT Siskowski for Status Coup here in a parking lot in Addison, Illinois, where masked agents with the Department of Homeland Security just abducted 2 more people out of this Chicago area community. I'm here with a witness, and I will have the witness, if you want to just step in frame here. We are protecting his identity because there is fear, of course, of reprisal from the federal government. So I wanted to have you start, sir, just by explaining what you saw out here this morning from wherever you feel that begins all the way up to, when ICE or the federal agents left.
Well, I was buying here on this grocery store, and I saw those masked guys right behind of a car that was parking on the parking lot here on the grocery store. And they were waiting here for probably 40 minutes, and after that they broke the window of the car, and I know they are doing the wrong thing because they don't look criminals, to be honest. And we called the police came, and they do, well, nothing, couldn't do anything because they said that it's federal.
Just some information that I got from the family was that these two had actually been in the country for about 30 years and did not have criminal history. We're just hardworking people, sort of, the impression that you got as well. What do you feel like is the message that the federal government is attempting to send to this community here in Addison?
I don't know, to be honest. This is what we need to get answers from them. Why they are chasing these people? Why? How do they know they are criminals? This is the question. I mean, they are not looking criminals, to be honest. This is not an issue or looking for criminals. We understand when somebody is a criminal anywhere in the United States, they can be taken out. But not these innocent people. They're no criminal. They look more criminal, those guys here with masks, arms, and broke windows and properties. They are innocent, man. This is not fucking right. And you guys gonna pay the fucking consequences later on, man.
We're doing our job?
Yeah, you're doing your job, doing this fucking thing.
I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, let me talk to them. The police is here.
You mentioned that you felt like it was hurting the economy here in Addison. Really give us a few examples of how you feel that these raids by the federal government are harming businesses down here and people.
Well, nobody wants to go out right now. See, they're gonna pass the news. They're gonna be afraid. People, even yesterday, we saw those guys in a school. Little kids right there. They are hiding there. They are hearing everything. I mean, how are they gonna go to school? I mean, imagine the fear of the people. I mean, this is not right. It's gonna hurt the economy. They're gonna hurt everything, and this is not right. They're gonna be empty houses, empty apartments, empty businesses. I mean, this is what we want here? I don't know. Somebody can explain to us what this is gonna happen. I mean, we are probably close to 40,000. Almost 50% is Latinos. So what is this gonna happen to this town?
How long is this sustainable?
Wow. It's not. It won't be from the first day. For every meal that a food bank provides, the SNAP program provides 9. There's no way we can meet that gap. There's no way we can replace every single one of those meals. It is not sustainable for food banks to fill this gap. We were not built to do this. We will stand out there and we will do our very best.
There are years worth of funding available for the SNAP program, our tax dollars that we have already paid to the federal government to facilitate this program, and the Trump administration deleted this language from the website this morning. They are hiding the fact that not only is there more than enough funding to pay these benefits that we have already paid our tax dollars into, but that there was contingency language to ensure that even in the event of a government shutdown, that SNAP would go uninterrupted. The Trump administration and the Republicans supporting him are using food as a political weapon. This is a choice. They chose to delete this language. They are choosing to force children to go hungry. We will not stand for that choice, and I encourage a yes vote.
Totally new information about how the strongest criminal case that Jack Smith had assembled against Donald Trump actually collapsed. From investigators' standpoint, the criminal evidence about Donald Trump's mishandling of classified records was a trifecta kind of case. One, he had tons of documents, a huge volume that he knowingly took with him from the White House when he was no longer president, and had to know that if they fell into enemy hands, it could really cause grave danger to national security. Second, the government tried every which way to persuade, cajole, encourage, and then finally order Donald Trump to turn over these records. And every effort was met with some stymieing, and then eventually the government learned Donald Trump was intentionally concealing these classified records, not only from the government, but even from his own attorney. And then third, when you think about the seriousness of this material, to have it strewn around a shower room at a private club at Mar-a-Lago, that was also extremely disconcerting. Even with this overwhelming evidence, this case still collapsed, and it was based on one controversial decision that Jack Smith made to bring the criminal charges in Florida. When we were reporting for our book, Injustice, what my co-author and I learned was Jack Smith thought we have a better legal standing to bring this case in Florida, where we have more evidence that Donald Trump was engaged in concealing and mishandling these records. The case, however, had been handled primarily and presented to a grand jury in DC, where more judges have a lot more familiarity with classified records mishandling cases, and where the jury, frankly, was more likely to be anti-Trump. Florida had a particular risk, and that was that Eileen Cannon, a judge who had already shown that she wasn't going to follow judicial precedent, she was going to ignore previous court rulings to favor Trump, she was potentially a judge who could get this case. One day in the spring of 2023, a key prosecutor involved in the classified documents case learns of Jack Smith's decision, and he says essentially, "Are you all effing insane?" When Jack Smith's team learned that Cannon had gotten the case, that night they all conferred in different places and said, essentially, we're screwed. And not many months later, Judge Cannon dismissed this entire case based on a legal justification that wasn't very sound. Quite to the contrary of Donald Trump's claims that the Department of Justice and a deranged Jack Smith were weaponized against him. This episode reveals from our book that actually Jack Smith was working overtime to do the right thing, to err on the side of caution, to err on the side of what the law would favor, rather than making sure he had a slam dunk case with a jury in DC that was more likely to convict Trump and judges that were more likely to favor the government.
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Oh yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John.
Hey, testing, 1, 2, 3. Am I coming through loud and clear for you guys? Let's see here. Let me turn this up a little bit here. Is that? All right, testing. Is the mic on? The microphone? Does it work? It does sound as though it is. Thank you guys for being here. I know it's a little late, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time zone here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. We are currently at 60 degrees. Daytime high expected at 82 with an overnight low of 52. All right. It's getting downright chilly here in Las Vegas. All right, guys, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Immediately, what I want to do is fill that blank spot there. Now, this might not be the best meme in the world, but I thought it was kind of interesting. If we deported MAGA men aged 17 to 50 and replaced them with undocumented immigrants, the violent crime rate would drop at least 50%. Crimes against women and children would be close to zero. Do you see who the real enemy is here, folks? I know you guys do. Anyhow, let me go to the chat. I'm not able to scroll back to the beginning. I did see, I think, Jolie and Sandy in there, 1, 2. Not that it matters who's first and second, but I just want to acknowledge I did see the beginning, but now I'm not able to scroll back up to the very beginning. So I'm starting out with the DBD 5844, who says, hi, Anna Moore. So apparently Anna Moore is here. Richard says, LA Dodgers cap Trucker John is wearing. Yes, I am. Very proudly. I'm not proud of the performance last night by the Dodgers. Actually, it was pretty pathetic. The Dodgers looked lost at the plate. They looked pathetic. They looked uninterested. They looked like they were already defeated at the first inning just because Toronto hit the first two batters hit home runs. They already put their heads down like they already lost. They still had fucking 9 innings to go. Everyone's trying to hit home runs. They're swinging out of their fucking shoes instead of just trying to get base hits and play some little ball, get some base runners on base, and then let Ohtani have some base runners when he's up at the plate. Come on, guys! This is fucking baseball 101. And I don't care about this fucking Savage. They want to put him on a pedestal and act like he's the next fucking Sandy Koufax. He's not. Fuck him. It's just the Dodgers had their heads up their asses. You're going to tell me that Shohei Ohtani and Freddie fucking Freeman couldn't hit that guy because he's so great? They couldn't hit the guy because they had their heads up their asses. So yeah, I'm a little sour about the game last night. Inning after inning after inning of ineptitude. Okay, you Savage. Okay, you're great. You're the best thing since fucking sliced bread. Okay, I get it. Now we head to Toronto. We've got to win Game 6. You don't even think about Game 7. Everything is Game 6 right now. That's the only thing that matters. If you're a baseball, we're talking baseball here. We're talking about Dodger baseball. The only thing that matters right now is winning Game 6. That's all you think about. And you do whatever you can to win Game 6, so you force a Game 7. So I'm not counting him out. It ain't over till it's over. Right? It ain't over till it's over. And I've seen this Dodger team look completely shitty over and over again during this season. Look completely miserable and pathetic. And then I've seen them turn it right around and look like fucking world beaters. I've seen them turn around and look like the most awesome team on the face of the planet. So I'm hoping for that for tomorrow night. I'm hoping for that turnaround. I'm hoping to see the fucking Dodgers that we've seen throughout the season when they do get base hits, they get runners on, and then the big guys come and knock them in. They don't make stupid mistakes out in right field where what should have been a single gets turned into a triple because you tried to make some sort of dive that there's no way you could have made. Where you don't fucking throw 3 wild pitches in an inning and bring in a run. And all that kind of shit. So anyhow, we'll see how they do. If they win, they win. If they don't, they don't. But I'm not giving up hope, and until it's over, So we'll see what happens tomorrow night. We'll see what happens. If the Dodgers come back and bounce back, then that shows what a great team they really are. Anyhow, let's see. We got Big Hook. Big Hook, the Big Canuck is here. Hey, good to see Big Hook. Says, I try my best to help Dan. I guess we're speaking of Liberal Dan now. I tried my best to help Liberal Dan with his platform and give some sanity to the discussions. Chad thinks I hate him, but he is misguided and believes that Trump is somehow administering tough love or bullshit. Chad, by the way, can go fuck himself. No, I mean, the fucking dude makes no sense. Chad makes no fucking sense. Anyhow, Damon Dog, the Big Dog's here. Hey, Damon says, I'm up. Where the fuck is my coffee? Is my coffee? I don't know, Big. Big Dog. But I did see you got that little 3-wheeler e-bike. That's the ones I've been looking at those. I want one of those. I like it has the little basket. Maybe I would like something with a little bit bigger basket, maybe. Because I thought that'd be good to go to the store, run down to the store, do some shopping, bring it back. Well, it looks cool. Paul Burrows is here. Hey, Paul Burrows up there from I almost said Indiana, from Idaho, I believe, right up there. Alvin Stube is here. Hey, Alvin, good to see you. Trump thinks we still test nukes above ground. Trump thinks a lot of shit, huh? That's not right. And he's the president. Richard, our expat from down under, says it's 2:14 a.m. in Australia. Gee, many Christmas, Richard. I don't know if that's a late night or an early morning for you. But thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Putting in the time. We got 30 watching, 30. Hey, look. We've got 30 watching with 30 thumbs ups. Guys, we are acting like good Democrats. We are at a balanced budget. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Mr. Spock is here. Live long and doth prosper. Mr. Spock said maybe the cockroaches took over. Here's the thing. Okay, there was no show yesterday because I left the apartment. Because I figured they're going to spray and then they want you to be out of the house for 4 hours and all this kind of shit. And then so I just went ahead and went to work, which for me was early. I usually don't go to work till 4 or 5 in the evening or whatever, or sometimes even later. But so yesterday I just went ahead and I just got on the bus. I went to work. And I got an early day of it, which is kind of cool. I kind of liked it. I put in, actually, I worked 8 hours and, I got home at a decent hour. So I kind of liked it. But come to find out, they didn't spray. They didn't come yesterday. There was a massive miscommunication. I was told that it would be today. I went into the office and asked them, about it, if they came or not, and because I didn't look like they'd come. And she said, "Oh no, they'll be here next Wednesday." And I was like, "I was told it was this Wednesday." And the person I spoke with is, every time I go in there now, it seems like there's different people in that office, in front office. And apparently, the person I spoke with yesterday is like the head honcho. She's like the head. She called herself the supervisor. And she goes, "Yeah, the other girl we had in here, she was new and didn't know what she was talking about, or something like that." Now she kind of was talking about her in past tense. I don't know if the other girl is gone or if it was just her day off. I don't know. But so she goes, "Oh yeah, but they'll be here next week," and all this kind of stuff. So I'm like, "Oh, so it's gonna be next Wednesday." So this coming Wednesday, a week from yesterday, I'm gonna do it all over again. I'm gonna just shut down. I probably won't do a show next Wednesday because I'll probably just leave the house and I'll probably just go to work. I kind of like that, going to work. It sounds funny. I like to go into work for a change, you know. So anyhow, they didn't spray because they didn't come. She says they don't come every 2 weeks. They come like, I don't know, the first Wednesday of every month or something like that. Some kind of weird thing. All right, so here we go. So that we'll hopefully get the big spray on Wednesday. All right. Jolie says, Big Hook, Chad is an idiot and I can't stand him. Me either, Jolie. I can't stand that fucker. I cannot stand him. He makes no sense. AM's here. Anamor says, hello, Alpha Stu. The man in the White House scares me so, and now with nuclear weapons issue. I know that's always been a scary thing to think that Donald Trump has the nuclear codes. Big Hook, Kimchi can't stand him either. Oh, I thought maybe Kimchi was here, so that's why I read that one. All right, who else we got here? We got DPD 5844. We got Twisted Nurse Painting is here. Hey, Winston, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in to the old Driver's Lounge. Nick Rich 915. So I am about 25 minutes behind, I think. I'm 25 minutes behind, but that's just the way. That's the nature of the game, folks. That's the nature of it. That's how it works. Richard says Trash Patel. So yeah, I guess this is during the intro with the waste, fraud, and abuse. Where could it be? Maybe we should start just looking at the Trump administration if you want to find waste, fraud, and abuse. It's right there, Elon. It's right there. You were right there in it. Big Hook says, love your choice of intros, John. Thank you, Big Hook. I appreciate that. I'm kind of proud of him myself, actually. Damon Dog says it was smart to put Cash and Bongino in the admid. They got them to sign NDAs, and now they can't tell what they know. But are NDAs forever? I guess, seems like everything has a expiration date. Nick Rich, never trust a fascist. That's good advice. That's some good advice right there. By golly. Big Hook says, give money to the food banks. They can use it to purchase 3 times more than you can donate from your grocery store purchases. Yeah. Yeah, they're handled, they're set up to be a lot more efficient than if you just try to do it yourself. Yeah. So. Sandy Foltz, Blue Jays won last night. I'm very well aware. Very well aware. Yep. David Weiss from Denver, I believe, says I had an Eddie Whip infusion machine for a few years. Made coconut oil with it. It crapped out after a few years. The MJ industry here is mature and it keeps getting cheaper. What's the MJ industry? The Michael Jackson industry? Michael Jordan industry? I don't even know what that is. Edamore says, remember regarding the video and ICE, the master manipulator behind this is Stephen Miller. The Agent Orange in the White House is only signing the executive order. Yeah, Stephen Miller seems to be pulling a lot of strings there. That's for sure. But that doesn't take, Trump off the hook. I mean, he's certainly complicit and is in, an agreement with all that shit. Aaron West is here. So I believe we are at full mod capacity. Full mod capacity. Anyhow, I had to do it. I just had to do it. Aaron West says, I'm also in chat waiting to talk to an agent about, was it a secret agent? No, an agent about my in-school deferment for my student loans. They are saying I'm late on a payment when I shouldn't owe a payment because I'm in school. Got to get that ironed out. Get that ironed out. TNP, otherwise known as Winston, says this will touch almost every American family. I guess we're talking about SNAP and stuff like that. If you are able to this Halloween, please hand out non-perishable food items with the candy you give to trick-or-treaters. So many families will need it. That's a good idea. I think that's a sweet idea. I don't know. If I was trick-or-treating and I got like a can of corn, I'd be like Charlie Brown, like, I got a rock. I know you're well intentioned, but like Big Hook said, maybe take your donations to the pantries, the places that deal with that. But that's good. No, I mean I'm saying it's not a bad idea, but I'm just saying if I was a kid, I'd be like, where's the Hershey's bars, man? But it does. If you get a can of corn in your candy bag, it does make for a good weapon if someone tries to jump you. So that's good. You can swing that thing around at that point and clock somebody. So might come in handy. John from Las Vegas is here. Hey, John, good to see you. John says, "Good morning, Trucker John and trucklers. Good morning back at you." Just wondering if John is out in his cab right now, waiting in line at a taxi line and watching the Trucker John live stream. That's all, or it could be his day off. I don't know. But good to see John in here. Good, thanks for joining us. Let's see, deputy. I always want to say deputy. Deputy Dog 5844 says, I called my local Senator Bernie Moreno and John Husted, and Dave Yost. I hear someone's phone out there ringing. And Mike Deswine. They refuse to answer their phones, but we will not be deterred. We'll just show up at their fucking offices. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Twisted Nerve says, Trucker John, awesome intro, brother. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I take everything back I said about kind of your idea there. No, but that was a good idea. That was a good idea about the thing, the food. But thank you, Twisted Nerves. I appreciate it. Damon Dog says, Nick Rich, you inspire me because of your S poster video. I started looking at electric scooters. Yesterday, I finally made a buying decision and opted for the three-wheeler electric bike. I think that was awesome. I saw the picture that you posted. I guess that was the one like you ordered. But I thought it was really cool, Damon. I think those things are really cool. I'd like to get one. Aaron says, hey, John, from John Las Vegas. I'll be in Vegas tomorrow. Oh, Aaron's being in Vegas tomorrow. For Halloween, right? Yeah. Aaron, are you gonna? You need to go check out the. They've got the what is it called? Horror Unleashed or something. They got over by Area 51. Area 15, not Area 51. Area 15. Right by there, they've got this like Universal. I guess it's Universal Pictures has this whole new thing that's about horror, and you go in and they have these different rooms with all these things, and so that'd be a cool thing to check out. And also for Halloween, and also Circus back in their Adventure Dome. That's the big dome, and inside it's like an amusement park. They've got that all decked out for Halloween, and I've heard that was really good for Halloween stuff. And they have scare rooms and stuff like that. So you might want to check out those. I recommend Circus Adventure Dome thingy. I forget what they're calling it, Horror Dome or something. And then the And maybe John can remember. I forget the name. It's like Horror Unleashed or Horror something. It's over by Area 15. Definitely check those two things out if you're like into Halloween and stuff. Chris Doug's here. Good to see Chris Doug. Thanks for coming on in. Did you get a hike in today? Did you get some hiking in? Damon Dog S poster equals scooter. Oh, okay. That's okay. Nick Rich 929. I'm like 28 minutes behind or something. I don't know. What am I? 21 minutes. 31. No, 21. No, wait. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm 28 minutes behind. Or 29 minutes behind. Damn near a half hour behind. Is what I am. So I'm seeing the thumbs up. That must be when I just came on. That's where I'm at in the chat when I was going testing 1 2 3. Stephanie B2 is here. Can anyone see me? I can see you, Stephanie B2. I see you. Thanks for being here. I do appreciate you. Twist Nerve says, that sounds nice, John. It was freezing there this morning. Yeah, when I said it was 60, yeah, for Twisted Nerves, it's like freezing. So back there, we're back east. Christina and Son Ghost Squad is here. Hey, Christina, good to see you. Thanks for popping in. John from Las Vegas says, Aaron, maybe you, Trucker John, and I could grab a drink. We should. That would be great. How long are you in town for, Aaron? We should do that. DVD 5844 says, Menards is telling their employees not to film or record the Nazi Gestapo from disappearing human beings on their property. We see you, Menards, and we hear you loud and clear. So yeah, Menards going on the shit list. And I have a little story. I know you guys love it when I go off on tangents and I get even further behind in the chat. But I have a little story about Nazi Gestapo. In the late 90s, I went back to our local community college, Antelope Valley College, and with the idea, I was taking some classes, some courses that were going to transfer to. They were transferable to for my university, where I wanted to go back and get my 4-year degree because I never did get my BA. And so they had a satellite campus, a couple of satellite campuses, I think. But I know they had, was it Cal State Bakersfield? The prestigious Cal State Bakersfield. But hey, it's a Cal State. It doesn't matter. It's a good Cal has California has a good I think college system. Cal State Bakersfield. They had a sort of a little satellite campus there at ABC. And anyhow, so I was just I ended up taking some classes and with the intention of transferring over to Cal State Bakersfield and getting my BA, which I never did. Ended up doing some other stuff. But for the semester, first semester I took journalism, like Journalism 101. And then in the second semester, I ended up going on to, or maybe it was still in the first semester. I think it might have still been in this first semester where I got on with the school newspaper, campus newspaper. And then I was there. So I think I was there pretty much like for 2 semesters. And basically I was put on or I guess I volunteered to be on like the sports department. So we had, I remember Nikki Fuqua was our sports editor, and then I was her reporter, and she did reporting. So it was basically me and her doing sports, covering sports for the campus paper. And but anyhow, I started branching out a little bit and doing not just sports. I remember there was a story going around of people being harassed by the campus police, campus security, and for like no good reason. It was really like a harassment thing. And I understand campus security is important. There were some issues with car break-ins. I think there were issues with assault, sexual assault type of thing, or some type of assaults going on. So I understand we need campus security. I get it. I'm not anti-cop. I'm not anti security. But I remember, so I went around and I started interviewing people about this, if they were aware of or had seen any abuse by campus security or harassment, unnecessary harassment, and I got a few people that actually went on the record and had some stories about how they were just walking to class and then they got basically surrounded by not just one campus cop, but by a whole group, and 4 or 5 of them. And these campus cops were dressed, they looked like LAPD. If you've ever seen LAPD, I mean, that's typical uniform, but they're all in black, got their black hats on, black uniforms. These guys carry firearms, they carry batons, they carry, pepper spray, but they had firearms. They've got a fucking Glock on their hip. And they drive these patrol cars that look like fucking cop cars all around campus. And they are a bit intimidating. And just, hey, like I said, I'm all for security. I'm all for making the campus safe. But there was a lot of stories where people just felt like they were being unnecessarily harassed and intimidated. And it was kind of like how ICE does. I mean, how they would just profile people and literally surround them. It wasn't just like one or two, campus cops walking around and checking things out or whatever. They were like in packs, So then I witnessed myself. It was during registration, I think. It was during a registration period. And I was in line at the registration office. And I saw something where, I forget exactly what happened now, but somebody in line, they started harassing, these cops came up and started just harassing this one person that was waiting in line, for no reason. And they grabbed the guy and started hauling him out. So then I said, hey, what the fuck are you guys doing? You can't just fucking grab people. And then they all came on me. And then they started asking me, who are you? What's your name? Where's your ID? What are you doing here? I'm like, I'm registering. I take classes here. I'm registering, And they're like, let me see your ID. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have to show you anything. And they're like, yes, you do. You're on campus property. They just read me the riot act. And literally there was like 5 or 6 of them all around me now, just because I kind of stood up for this other person. And I felt like, oh my God, I felt like they were going to start beating me with their batons or something. And I'm, and you guys know me, how I get mad, and so I start dropping F-bombs and probably saying some things I probably shouldn't have said. I kind of lost my head a little bit, but and again, remember, this is me in my late 30s, not my mid 60s at the time. So anyhow, so it was a big deal. They ended up, they didn't do anything, but they just ended up walking me off the fucking property. And I'm like, I'm trying to register for some fucking classes here, and I go, I'm a returning student. So I think I just kind of left and came back the next day or something. But so, this was early registration, so classes were still going on, and I was still on the paper, and so I wrote the story about that. And actually, so I'm trying to get the timeline right, because I'd already written a story, earlier in the year. I'd already written a story where I went to Cal State Bakersfield and I covered an event there. It was Jocelyn Elder. She was the former Surgeon General under Bill Clinton. And she was on a book tour because she had written a book. And so I went and covered that event, and I did an interview with her. I actually got to interview her and took a picture with her, and that was put in the paper. And all the community colleges, they submit stories to, in California, they have the what is it, the Journalistic Association of Community Colleges or something like that, JACC. And they submitted that story to them. Okay, the the teacher, the admit the advisor, what do they call it, of the campus paper, he submits all that stuff, and he submitted my story. Okay, so that was like in the works. I didn't even know about it, or I didn't even think about it because this had been weeks or months ago since I did that and wrote the story and got it printed and everything else. So anyhow, I get this whole thing, and so then I write a story about it, and that we put that in the op-ed section. I put this in the op-ed section of our paper about what I witnessed, about the other stories I had from other kids on campus or students on campus. They weren't all kids, it's communities. Remember the show Community? It's like that. It's like there's people that are fresh out of high school, and then there's people my age that are like middle aged, and then there's like old fucks, that are in 70s and 80s. So it's everything at community college. But anyhow, so I was doing these. I think I did a little series of op-eds, and I told about this instance where these cops surrounded me and really, acted like I was some sort of criminal or something, and really intimidated me, and were grabbing me, and they actually like forcibly, they like grabbed a hold of me and moved me out of the line and moved me a little different part of the office there, and I just described that treatment, and I described them as being Nazi. I think I used the word Nazi, and this is this is like 1998 or something, I believe. Just so you guys know, that this wasn't in 2018 or 2025. This was in like I think 98 or 99 or something like that. And I used the word, I think, Gestapo and SS and Nazi, and I put that shit in the story, and I probably shouldn't have, in retrospect, actually, because I didn't realize how, I guess, offensive that is to Jewish people if you describe everything as being Nazi-like or Gestapo-like, and you're talking about campus security. Maybe I overdid it. Maybe I just said this is abuse of power, authoritarianism, or whatever, instead of going, the Nazi route. But that's how I felt at the time. That's really how I felt. And it was an op-ed. It wasn't like a news story. I put this under op-ed. And I felt like I had the room there since I was giving my opinion. This wasn't like a straight up news story. So we printed it. Our campus paper printed it. We went to print. It went out. The story got out. The next day, I guess the next day after that, we had released that paper, and put them out for everyone to see, everyone to read. The school president, the president of the school, whatever, they have a president, she's like the boss, came down to our newsroom, which she never had ever done before, ever. Came down to our newsroom and basically read me the riot act, but she did it to the whole class, or to the whole, that's not a class, it was to the newspaper staff, saying like never in her wildest imagination did she ever think that she would be reading a newspaper from her campus that would describe her security as being not like Nazis and like the Gestapo, and she goes, I'm a Jewish American and I find this offensive, and she goes, she kind of sort of intimidated or intimated that, like the paper was on thin ice or something. I don't know, or it was really weird. She just did the thing, and I had a lot of things that I was thinking about saying, but I just let her go. I mean, I just let her do her thing, and I didn't really say anything in my defense. I'm just like, okay, let her do, and she did have some valid points. Then she leaves the room. And she was really mad, and she acted like, I don't know, she like I said, she intimated like she was going to shut us down or something, or at least get rid of me. Right, I think it might have been right after she left the room. Dennis Anderson, he was the admin, whatever they call him, advisor. And he's a longtime AP writer, an AP bureau chief in real life. He's been all over the world covering wars, covering everything. He at the time was the Los Angeles AP bureau chief while he was teaching classes at ABC. He later went on to become the editor-in-chief of our Antelope Valley Press, which was, I know it's no LA Times, but that was the paper for the Antelope Valley, and it had a circulation of about 300,000, which I would later go on to be a stringer for. But anyhow, it's a different story for a different day. But so then she left the room. Everyone's like just sitting there. We kind of just sat there in silence, like, oh shit, she's pissed. And we're all just sort of wondering, like, are we still going to be around? You know, we felt like, you know, like she was dropping the hammer on us or something. So then Dennis goes, okay. He goes, and with that, I would like to announce, and he had this big manila envelope. He goes, we just got this from the Journalism Association of Community Colleges. And he goes, I'm very proud to announce that we had a writer here on our paper that won what is sort of like in this association's in the sort of like in the importance of the award. It's like winning like Best Picture at the Academy Awards. That's how he kind of described it. He goes, we have a writer here that won first place for Best News Story. And he takes out, and there's like a plaque. And he goes, here, I'd like to present this to you, John Fowler. And he gave it to me, and I won first place. And our school had been around like for 80 years at that point. And they had a journalism, and they had a campus paper for all those years, and had participated in this journalism association. This is like hundreds of colleges from all over the state, and even they include Arizona, even though it says it was supposed to just be for California. But yeah, Arizona's in there, in California, all the community colleges. They've been doing this for 80 years. We'd never have won first prize for Best News Story. We won first prize in some other events, other categories. But for News Story, which was like according to Dennis Anderson, that's like the biggie. That's like winning Best Picture. So I won for my story about the Jocelyn Elders story that I did. First place. And this is right after the school president came down and read us the riot act. And I don't think she even knew yet. And then Dennis goes, he gave that to me, and he goes, I think this will help cement us, cement our place here on campus, or something like that. And so we never heard from the president again. She didn't do shit. I was very fortunate that I won that first place award. That might have kept the campus paper at least from being shut down for that semester, because she acted like she was going to shut us down. I won first place, very prestigious award for a community college, and the timing couldn't have been better. So anyhow, that's that. I know I'm probably an hour behind now, but that's what we do the chat for. It gives me, you guys spur ideas in my head for me to talk about shit. So, and all because someone talked about Gestapo. So that's my story about being a campus news reporter. And maybe you guys never knew that before. I don't know. All right, so we got 72. Roxanne 79 is here. Hello, Roxanne. Good to see you. Nick Rich again. Mr. Spock. I'm just sort of scrolling down. Richard, expat American. I am now living in Australia. Yep, you sure are. Hey, my musical success journey says Article 2 of the Constitution says the president is not above the law. If you haven't read it, read it, guys, gals, and if your representatives haven't read it, make sure they read it. Alrighty then. Good advice. Christina and Son Ghost Squad says, I don't know anything about baseball. Oh, I bet you do know something about baseball. Anyhow, but I used to play volleyball in the day, and I really love that. I think it's almost the same. You have to hit a ball, but instead of a bat, you use your wrist. Yeah, it's not really the same. There is a ball involved, but other than that, you never played kickball? Like in elementary school, kickball is basically like baseball, but you instead of a bat, you just kick the ball with your foot. Then you got to run the bases and stuff. That's kind of like that's. I would say kickball is closer to baseball than volleyball is. But you know, DPD5844 says I'm encouraging anyone to call corporate restaurants to encourage them to give free meals to families and children who may not have any food due to the SNAP cuts. That's a good idea. Richard from Down Under says time to remove Trump from office using the 25th Amendment. John from Las Vegas says I was referring to your last name. Oh, so I'm mid-thread. That was a mid-thread. I don't know what that's about. MJ Daniel from up there in Washington State says those e-bikes look like fun. Yeah, I want to get one. I was thinking about getting one and using it to go to work. But then the thing is, it's like a hassle. Like when I get to work, where do I put it? Where can I, leave it and all that kind of shit. So I don't know. Twisted Nerve says every day they freeze them at the end of the day and donate them. Mid-thread. DPD5844 says, oh, and also if anyone is going to pass out Halloween candy, how about passing out perishables like rice beans, ramen noodles, gift certificates? Somebody, that's what Twisted Nerve Painting was already talking about giving food. John Glad's here. Always glad to see John Glad in the driver's lounge, checking in. Marsha Jones. Hello, Marsha Jones. Good to see you. Thanks for popping on in to the old driver's lounge. I'm skipping down because I know I'm really behind. My musical success journey says I don't remember who gave me the gift membership, but that person or persons, I really appreciate it. Oh, that's right. Very cool of you. That's right. So this was a gifted membership. Yeah, Jolie did did the last batch, I believe. Might have been Jolie. Jolie. Who very graciously gifted some memberships. So that was very nice. Very cool. David Weiss, MJ equal Mary Jane. I use old slang. Oh, I'm familiar with the slang. I didn't know the context there. Sometimes if I'm mid-thread, I miss the context. DPD5844 says that's great, Twisted. We all need to pitch in and help. It's pathetic that those who have power could care less. Damon Dog says, TJ, if you're not sure what we're talking about, just assume it's weed. Yes, good. That's a good pointer. Good pointer there. Yeah, a lot of pot talk here on the Trucker John Livestream. Richard for Down Under says, check out the Grinning Ghost songs by the Melotons. John from Las Vegas is about to load at Terminal 3. That's out at the airport, folks. Out there at Harry Reid International. Josh sees. Hey, Josh, good to see you. Says, there's a guy in my town who stands out front with a grill and has hot dogs and sodas for the adults. David Dog, I'm handing out all my leftover condiment packs, ketchup, duck sauce. Duck sauce? What the hell is duck sauce? Hot mustard, soy sauce, Texas Pete. That's not fair. That's not right. Come on, guys. Get the good candy out. Go. I used to hand out like Hershey bars and Snicker bars and Kit Kats. The big full size ones, not the little tiny ones, man. Come on, man. No one wants a fucking hot sauce. MJ Daniel says, sorry, practical joke. They took the wrapper off some Ferrero Rocher chocolates and replaced them with Brussels sprouts. So mean. So I guess is that the treat? I mean, is that the trick part? I guess that's the trick for trick or treat. So you trick people and by giving them hot sauce, I guess. I guess so. I guess that's the, I'm just not accustomed to that. I'm accustomed to just always getting candy when I was a kid. I don't remember ever getting anything there were some candies are better than others, but I don't remember ever getting something like a trick thing. DPD 5844 says General Motors in Tennessee, Ohio, and Detroit are laying off in their EVU departments since the Nazi fascist white nationalist regime. Pedophiles does not believe in clean or green energy. Yep. Elections have consequences. Voting matters. Sandy Fold says TJ did the bug spraying. Well, I explained it earlier. I'll just real quick say that they didn't show up. They're supposed to be here next Wednesday. Oh yeah, so Aaron says yes, we are going to Horror Unleashed at 2 p.m. on Saturday and a ghost tour on Saturday night. Awesome. I think you're gonna love it. I think you're gonna love the Horror Unleashed. I've heard good things about it. If you have a chance, you should go to the one at Circus Circus also. I heard it's really good. I know a lot of people shit talk Circus Circus as far as the hotel rooms and stuff like that, but I've heard that their Halloween deal is pretty cool too. Michael McAndrews says, "Hey, Michael, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in." Michael says it will be sort of fun, Damon, except I can't talk about anything with my brothers and sisters. I'm mid-thread, guys. I was a total mid-thread. Twisted Nerve says, I am glad I got my degree, even though I wasn't able to stay in my chosen career long. Everything I learned has served me well. Anyway. Sometimes I still think about getting my degree. At 65, I still think about it. But then I'm like, well, am I just doing it just so I can have a degree? Or, I'm not really planning on really doing anything, so. Sandy says, why did you not do your show? Because I was already gone, Sandy. I was already out of the house. And I have the freedom and the right to not do a show whenever I don't want to. If I don't want to do a show, I don't have to do a show. I was out of the house and I was working in my cab, doing my real job. DPD says, did anyone see overturned truck in Mississippi carrying, but it was carrying the infected monkeys? The first thing I thought of was the 28 Days Later. Does anyone remember that movie? Texas Paul said, no need to worry. Did you see Colbert did a funny thing about it? He was like, he issued a warning or something to the people of, what was it, Tennessee or Mississippi or whatever? Mississippi, because he said, don't have sex with these monkeys. It was funny. I heard about that. Supposedly, at first they were saying they were infected with COVID and with hepatitis and with something else. But then the university that they came from said that they weren't. Apparently, most of them are shot and killed. Let's let the police get their jollies. Take it out on the monkeys. Maybe they won't kill actual people unnecessarily. I don't know. Last I heard, there was 3 of them missing. I don't know if they've caught the last 3 or not. But yeah, weird, bizarre kind of story. Fancy, if you would rather go, why did I say fancy? Sandy Foltz says, if you would rather go to work than having live stream, you should cancel your show altogether. That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard someone say, Sandy. That's a weird thing to say. I can do both. I can go to work and I can do my show. And then if you don't like that I missed the show or whatever, that's just ridiculous. That's you get ridiculous. I don't know, comment there. The ridiculous comment of the day goes to Sandy Foltz. So far, and we're only we're about an hour in already. So. At the halfway point, leading in the most ridiculous comments of the day, Sandy Foltz. Some people, I'll tell you, folks, sometimes you're just damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So you got to just shrug it off. Bonnie Balcom says, I'm actually not doing well mentally, so tired of anxiety. I'm struggling to center myself. Yeah, it's tough times. Try to do whatever you can to get your mental health right. If that means getting into some therapy or counseling, whatever you got to do. It's important to keep your mental health in good working order, just as it is your physical health. So, yeah, I hope you can get that worked out, Bonnie. Josh says, I thought he said it was nice working earlier in the day than he usually does. Yeah, that's what I said. It was nice getting done. Like I finished up before midnight. It was like when I quit, because I forget what time it was. 10:30, 11 or so. Oh no, I think it was even earlier than that. I did my 8 hours and went back to the yard, and it was I forget what time it was now. It was actually pretty early. Yeah, I think it was like 9 or something, or 9:30. And then what I ended up doing was I took the bus part way, and then I stopped, and then I got that vay. You guys, I thought, because they keep sending me these coupons, so I've got these coupons for like free vay. You guys remember the vay car? That's the car, the little electric car that they'll drive it to your house or drive it to your location, and then you can drive it. And so I took the bus to a location, but it's only in these certain areas, and they have an app, and they have a map on the app, and it shows you the shaded areas, and you have to be in this area in order to get the car. And then when you're done, you have to drop it off in one of the shaded areas. So that's why I haven't been using it, because I don't live in the shaded area, and my job is no longer in the shaded area, even though it used to be. But anyhow, so I thought, just for the heck of it, since I'm early, and because you could only have them deliver a car to you up to 10 p.m. from like, I think 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Yeah, so it was before 10 p.m. That's right. So it was like, I think it was like 9:30 or something. And so I went ahead and got the vay car, and I drove it as far as I could to my house. It was still like a few miles away. So then I had to I parked the car, and then I took the bus the rest of the way home. And here's the thing. I mean, to drive, that was pretty close to work, and then to drive it where I dropped it off, it took like 10 minutes. And it was so nice. It was so nice to just be in a car. And you guys, once you don't have a car, you realize how much you took your car for granted. So, and then I had to go wait for the bus, and then waiting for the bus was like, it took me longer just waiting for the bus than if I had it, if I had a car and I just drove home. It's in a car from where I work to home is like a 20-minute drive altogether. I ended up having to wait for that bus. I think it was like a half an hour or longer. Maybe it was longer. Waiting for the stupid bus to take me the rest of the way home, which was probably, I don't know, what is it from there? 3 or 4 miles probably from there. But yeah, that's what I did. I thought I'd just try the Vay thing since I have those coupons, and it still did save me actually probably about a half an hour of time. Even with the long waits and everything of waiting for the bus, it saved me at least a half an hour or 45 minutes probably. So anyhow, let's see. Twistner says stand for our rights, stand for a system funded at the levels before, and stand for those rights that are not negotiable. David Dog says, I think I'd rather drive a cab during the day, less drunks to deal with. And people always, even since I've been doing, when I was doing Uber, people are always talking about the drunks. And I can tell you that in 2 years of Uber, I mean, there was a few buzz people, a few that were really drunk, but I would say 99% of the time, either the people aren't drunk or it's undetectable, to me. So it's not an issue. And as a cab driver, 99.9% probably. I mean, I haven't dealt with any drunks, and I usually go, till 1:30, sometimes later, but usually, about 1:30 or so in the morning. And so it's funny how people always, and you would think in Vegas that it would be all drunks, but it's not. I mean, it's probably less than 1% of the time I'm dealing with a drunk. Less than 1%, guys. Sometimes I have to emphasize things because you guys don't understand what I'm saying. Anyhow, Nick Rich, 10 a.m. I'm 26 minutes behind. I have skipped a lot, though. That's for sure. Damon Dog says at Bonnie, Bonnie's having some mental, having some mental issues, and as I think we all are going through this, but especially hard. Bonnie's going through a especially hard time right now, and Damon Dog is saying it's important to find the things that are completely different from politics and current events and take your mind off the fuckery. Yeah, so it's good to take, and I agree, Damon. It's good to just find something that can take your mind off of it, because sometimes it's just everywhere, right? These issues, these things that are concerning, we just seem like we can't get away from it, and we're just constantly thinking about it 24/7. So yeah, if you can find something that can take your mind off of it, some hobby, something, I don't know, then that's important to take a break, a mental break from this, like Damon Dog says, this fuckery. Absolutely, keep your mental health. It's important to keep your mental health as good as you can, so you can be there. You can be ready for the fight when you need to be there for the fight. And I know Hal Sparks doesn't like the fight analogy, but I'm not Hal Sparks. Twist Nerve Painting says, you cannot negotiate with someone that wants you dead, and for most of my life, the GOP platform is death to me. And every disabled person, if you want to represent me, you need to stand up for me. Bonnie Balcom says, I started watching the OA, not feeling it right now. Maybe I'll rewatch Community. The comedy show I was talking about. I used to love that show. I watched like every episode of it. I thought it was a hilarious show. But yeah, so a good way to take your mind off things. By a goofy show about a guy in his mid-30s who goes back to college. I guess I could relate. I guess I like the show because I kind of related to that. Now they need to do a show. I guess now if I go back to college, I would be more like the Chevy Chase character. Yeah. Roxanne says, that's really cool. You won first place. It was very much a surprise. I had written the story. We, submitted it. I mean, it went to press. Dennis Anderson, like I said, he was the admin or whatever. He's the one that would gather all the stories and send them in and submit them to the JACC. And I didn't even know he did that. I didn't even, it was out of my, I didn't even think about it. And then when he presented that plaque to me and said I won first prize, I was just like, wow. I was flabbergasted. I was truly flabbergasted. Tim Farrell? Hey, Tim Farrell, the Farrell one. Good to see you. Says 56. I'm not sure if that's the temperature or what, but 56. Aaron West, awesome story. Someone's like, awesome story, bro. Big Hook. Okay, folks, I needed some sleep. Take care of you. Take care, all of you democracy warriors. I'm surprised that I didn't put you to sleep already, but hey. Yeah, get some rest. Big Hook. Michael Andrews says dodgeball was cool except when the dude wanted the ball and said okay outside after class because I didn't give it to him. No one was there after calls. Then he showed up with 5 friends. I got beat. Oh, this is a true story. I thought you were talking about the movie Dodgeball. So I guess I'm mid-thread because I did skip down. David Dog says those scooters are so cool, but to find one to hold my weight, I could just get an e-bike for the same money. Being fat costs extra. Yeah, that's one of the first things I look at is the capacity, the weight capacity. Because I'm about 3 bills. I'm sitting here at about 3 bills. So I got to make sure it has a payload that will handle that. Damon Dog says, in my defense, the Texas Pete packs are orange and black. Very Halloweeny. Yep. Michael McAndrews, I got an e-bike for $1,000. The thing I'm concerned about, like if I take it to go shopping, and I leave it outside, like I have to find a place to lock it up. Like when you lock up your old bike, do I have to have like a bike chain? I guess you can take the battery. A lot of the batteries are just clip out. I guess you could take the battery with you when you're shopping. But some of these fucking boneheads would probably still try to steal it anyhow, even though there's probably you could probably make it where like it locks someone out where they couldn't use it unless they had the your security code. Maybe they do. I don't even know if they have that or not. But certainly I think you can just take the battery with you. But then now but I guess I gotta, and I don't even see like bike racks and stuff anymore in front of stores. So I guess I have to find some place to lock it. So that's kind of a hassle, Josh C says Trucker John and the electric rickshaw kind of like Dr. Teeth and the electric mayhem. All right. Okay. DPD 5844 says, okay, how about we compromise? We hand the candy to the children and hand the perishables to the parents. This way it's a win-win for the kiddos and the parents. And then the parents are like, now I gotta fucking carry this shit around. I know I'm being negative. Marshall Jones says, wasn't a thing when I was a kid, but we copy the US here in the UK. Hey, there's John Dev. Hi, everyone. Looking. Hey, John Deff, go ahead and lurk. Lurk all you want, my friend. Lurk all you want. Just glad you're here. Thanks for hanging out. Bonnie Thompson with a $4.99 super chat. Yippee! Thank you so much for that. I'll give you a thumbs up. And then the heart says, get that degree and eat more blueberries. Bonnie Thompson, thank you so much for the chat, the super chat. We appreciate you. Nick Rich, 20 past the hour. So now I'm only 14 minutes behind, but I have been skipping a lot. David Dog, Sandy needs to start her own show. Twisted Nerves Painting says, Trucker John, never stop learning, my friend. Even when you're older, education is worthwhile. I had a BS in nursing by 20, and the things I studied enriched me. We do it to advance. Yeah, that's when you were 20. I'm 65 now. You know? But, every now and then you hear the story about the 80-year-old that went back and got their BA or their bachelor's degree. And that's a fun story. That's a nice story, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it or not. Christina Ghost Sun Ghost Squad says, sometimes people are sick, sometimes stuff comes up, sometimes you have a funeral to go to, have to cancel your show. Last week I couldn't sit, my back hurt so much I had to cancel my show. And it's YouTube. I could cancel whenever I could shut it off right this second if I wanted to. It's my show. I can do whatever I want. You know? Right? Does that make me sound like an arrogant asshole or something? Well, maybe I am. maybe I am an arrogant asshole. Aaron West says my international business class is a lot more interesting than I thought it would be. The textbook is very biased towards democratic free markets, and they are wrong about some China things, though. That's interesting. Michael McAndrews, 122. I believe I'm 14 minutes behind. DPD 5844 says, I am secretly hoping the monkeys make their way to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, shipped by Amazon Prime with a Apple iPhone and Meta app. I believe that they've all been killed, or at least maybe there's 3. Maybe the remaining 3 are making their way over to there. Marshall Jones, what time does the Devil's Lettuce come out? Michael McAndrews, I took a welding class this summer with a friend. It was okay. Hey, there's Liberal Dan. Good to see Liberal Dan. Says, what's up, Trucker John? Not much. What's up with you, Liberal Dan? Always good to see Liberal Dan pop into the old driver's lounge. And good to see we got Danimals in here. We got Sparklers in here. We got Trucklers in here. Good group of folks in the chat room. Good to see you. Liberal Dan was on last night. Does a show Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Central Time. Actually, I think you came on early last night, didn't you? Or did you? I'm not sure. But I was working, and I was out working last night and trying to watch, I was actually listening to the game, and then I watched the highlights afterwards. But I was listening to the game as I was driving. Nick Rich, I mentioned the time in Vegas since that's where Trucker John is. Yep, thank you so much, Nick. Appreciate you. Liberal Dan says, I'm waiting for testing to be done on my right knee replacement in 2 weeks. So you had the left one done, and now you're getting the right one done. There's got to be some sort of hokey pokey to that, right? I hope that all goes well, and you can be on even, I was going to say even footing, but you'd be on even knees. Having 2 good knees. So, yeah, hope that goes well for you. Get those knees in there. Good knees. Tim Farrell says, if you rather go to work than having the live stream, then you should cancel your show altogether. People are saying. People are saying. Yeah, people are saying that. Yes. Yeah, people are saying. People are saying. Marcia says, one person said it. Damon Dog says, I guess that shows my drunk bias or my preconceived notions of what cab drivers experience. Well, I guess you could say that's anecdotal. That's just me. Maybe John from Las Vegas could chime in because John drives a cab too. But John is usually he does mornings, I think, and early afternoons. So again, that maybe doesn't. There might not. Well, this is Vegas, so you might be surprised. John might get more drunks than I do. He might get the ones that are have been out all night and are trying to get back to their rooms or whatever. But like I said, so altogether with rideshare and now with cab, I've been doing this for 3.5 years. I mean, 2.5. Was it 2.5 years? Almost going on 3 years, I guess. And the whole drunk person thing has been like basically a non-issue. I mean, when I was doing rideshare, I had, I had probably 3 or 4 people throw up in the car, and I'm pretty sure that was from drinking. It wasn't just like they were sick or whatever. And in 10 months of driving cab, I did have one person throw up a little bit in the car. So there's that. But really, it just happens so infrequently that I don't even think about it. But it seems like if you're a non-driver, you do have that preconceived notion where you just think everybody in the getting in cabs are all drunks, and they're not. Like I'd say 99.9% of the people either aren't drunk, or I don't even notice if they are or aren't. Bonnie Balcom says last taxi ride I took, the driver was drunk-ish. That is not a good sign, or that's not a good situation. Yeah, you don't want the driver to be the drunk one. That's for sure. So, that's not good. And apparently you survived it. I'm glad you survived that. That's horrible. That's horrible. And whoever that driver was should have lost his taxi driving permit immediately, as far as I'm concerned. You just don't do that. Jill Bratton's here. Hey, Jill, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in to the old driver's lounge. Jill Bratton says, when I went to Vegas for a software convention, we East Coasters kept trying to hail a cab NYC style, then learned that they can only pick you up at hotels. Not sure why. Basically because it's a safety hazard to pick up on the streets. I don't know how many people get run over in New York City, but in Vegas, people are getting run over all the time. I mean, all the time. Almost every night, someone gets run over. Literally, I'm not kidding. And there are fatalities all the time. Maybe not every night, but weekly there are fatalities. Well, just on the strip. Just on the Las Vegas Strip is like a 5-mile long strip, if that, right? So they have decided, the Taxi Cab Authority has decided, you're only going to pick up at these designated taxi stands for safety reasons. It's all about safety. It's all about the safety. Joe Bratton, that was 1999. Wow. DPD 5844 says there was a show back in the day that would record all kinds of things going on in the cab, TJ. Yeah, that's like, was that Dashboard Confessional or something like that? Anyhow, TJ, has anyone ever participated in sexual activity? Please someone tell me they remember the show. No one has, there's been no sex. No sex, hardly any really drunk people or high people or people on drugs. Very, very few, if any, of that. At least not in my cab. All right, skipping down a little bit here in the chat. Jill Bratton says the entire U.S. needs better public transport, get rid of the lobbies and Citizens United. Get rid of the lobbies and Citizens United. Just one thing, but honestly a bit scared for my kids. Dim seem to be oblivious, ex-Republican. Dims are oblivious about public transportation, the needs of public transportation. I do know that a lot of Democrats, I've heard them say that if we get power back, that we should overturn Citizens United. So, I mean, a lot of them are saying that. I guess I'm out of coffee. Twisted Pain says, I'm 55 now, John. I still use all the education, even the liberal arts stuff. But even now, I still try to learn new things. I still take a painting class every week, and I am a professional painter. All right, skipping down. Bunny Malcolm says, there was that one time when Molly Jong Fast popped up into Hal's chat years ago, and I wrecked it by going Molly. I'm mid-thread. I'm a mid-thread, totally mid-thread. Twisted Nerve says, ugh, that is the one reason I never drove cab. Didn't ever want to clean my cab. If someone does that, well, with Uber, you're on your own. You have to, and you have to get it cleaned. Like if someone barfs in your car, I cleaned it myself, and you could take it to a detail shop and have them do it probably. But I cleaned it myself. With the taxi company, the cool thing about it is if someone pukes in your car, you take it right back to the yard. They have a whole thing set up. It's like, they call it, what do they call it? Like, it's almost like hazmat or something, you know? And so they fucking go and they like sterilize the shit. You know, they have a crew that just takes care of it. So that's pretty cool. And so when that happened to me, and it wasn't a big barf, it was like a little tiny little bit, but it was on the seat, and I saw it. I didn't, you know, I didn't know they did it. You know, it was one of those quiet things. And then when I looked back and I saw something on the seat, and I went and looked at it, and so there it was. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm done for the night. Now I could have, if I wanted to, I could have gotten another car, but I think I'd already done pretty much a full shift, anyhow, and so I was pretty much done. And so I just took it back. I just take it to the shop and let them know. And then they said, yeah. Then they, with a little grease pen, they write on the window, you know, what do they call it? They don't call it hazmat. They call it something else. And they said, yeah, just go park it over by the shed. They call it the shed or whatever. It's just this little area where they have someone the next day will come in and they use chemicals and they use all kind of shit, and they clean that shit right up. So I don't even have to deal with it. David Dog, I'd have to provide barf bags. I used to keep bags in the Uber car. I haven't really done that with the cab. It seems like it's been such a non-issue that I forget about it. You know, it's so, you know, but it is good. It's a good idea to have, I guess, something available for them. But you know, it happens so few times, so little, that you just don't even think about it. Twist Nerve says, I really need to get out there and see Vegas someday. Yeah, for sure. You should. Roxanne79 says, David Dog, you mean Boff bag, like Boston Brian says. There's Jolie, just as Trucker John has channel memberships and super chats. Yeah, we have the memberships starting as low as $1.99 a month. So that's a good way to go to help support the show. We got the super chats, of course. We're at two out of 5 on today's goal so far. And you can great way to help the show is liking, subscribing, and sharing, and it's free. And I appreciate you guys so much for all of the liking, the subscribing, and the sharing. Now I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did post. You know, there was a post. It seems like you guys don't see those as much when you just post like memes, or you post. They used to call it the community. Now they call it post. They call it this thing that's called groceries. No, but yeah, you post this thing, and I posted that we finally hit 1 million views. My channel has been viewed 1 million times, which is kind of awesome. I think for me, just being a small content creator, a small YouTuber, to get 1 million views, I think that's kind of cool. Now, I kind of looked at some other sites just to see, what they're at, like to compare. Like I looked at Hal. I think Hal has 40 million views. Literally, I'm not kidding. 40 or maybe 60 million. He's got tens of millions of views. And I'm sure, like, who knows, like Minus Touch. I didn't look at theirs, but they have 6 million subscribers, I think, or close to it. So who knows how many millions of views they have? Tens of millions, maybe hundreds of thousands of millions of views. That didn't make sense, but you know what I mean. But for me to be, here I am. I've got 4,100 subscribers, and I've just been really small, really for the majority of the time. I've been on YouTube since 2008 or something, but I really didn't start really doing these live streams and coming on every day like this until just a few years ago. So for me to be at 1 million views, I think that's kind of amazing, and I'm kind of proud of it. And I'm thankful to you guys for watching the show, watching the videos. So just keep watching. Now let's get to 2 million views. We're at it. So we broke 1 million. That'd be nice if that would translate into more subscriptions, more subscribers, and things of this nature. But we got 1 million. Now we're on our way to 2 million. So thank you guys. I just want to take time out to thank you guys because it wouldn't be possible without you guys, right? You guys are the ones watching. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing and hyping the shows, the videos. And again, it wouldn't be possible without you guys. So thank you so much for getting us to 1 million views. And that's on you guys. That's all on you guys because I can't watch myself 1 million times. So here's Jill Bratton with a $1.99 super sticker. Thank you so much, Jill Bratton. Yippee for that. I do appreciate you. Thanks for helping the show, helping keep us going, keep us growing. Walter Makarovich is here. Hey, Walter, good to see you. Says, morning, Trucker John. I guess the greatest peace deal in the Middle East is all but over. No Nobel Peace Prize here. Yeah, I on the way home, I think I heard a news report that Israeli Defense Forces were bombing Gaza again, and they said that they blamed Hamas on doing something, and then the report stated that I don't know if it was the Red Cross or whoever, but they were saying that there were a lot of the dead were children. So there you go, idea of killing children. Netanyahu should be so proud, right? Netanyahu should be put up on war crimes, as far as I'm concerned. Him and Trump and Putin and a few others should be Nuremberg style fucking trials for those motherfuckers. Roxanne 79 says, speaking of Taxi, I love Danny DeVito, especially in It's Always Sunny. His character Frank cracks me up so good. I can't imagine the show without him. Yeah, he's pretty funny. I like DeVito. Josh sees, what about farting passengers? You know what? I don't think I've ever really noticed, but I think one time someone did fart, and it was like, no one said anything, but everyone knew that someone farted, and I think they knew who it was. And it wasn't me. It was coming from the back, but it doesn't seem to be an issue. It's probably even less of an issue than drinking and drunks, but and even that's pretty small amount. Joe Brown says, Dems are oblivious to what we want. Stop Gaza genocide. Stop taking money from corporations. Stop listening to lobbyists. Stop bailing out mortgage brokers versus people. Crypto is going to crash. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if they're oblivious to that, though. I think the Gaza genocide is a lot more complicated than we think. Since we're not the ones doing it, Israel's the one doing it. That's so, and I think there are Dems that are on board um, with stopping financing Israel, at least defensively. I think there are plenty of Dems that are on board with that. So I'm not sure if they're oblivious to that. Stop taking money from corporations. I think there are plenty of Democrats that are on board with that and that are getting away from it. More and more of them are getting away from big corporate donations and doing more grassroots type of stuff. I think, stop listening to lobbyists. Yeah, I don't know how many are oblivious to our sort of disdain for these lobbyists and that creating that uneven playing field. I don't know how many of them are oblivious about that. Stop bailing out mortgage brokers versus people. Going back to I guess we're going back to the Bush era of the housing market bubble bursting. Crypto is going to crash, and I'll admit that the crypto topic doesn't get talked about. I don't hear that being talked about by Democratic leaders. I don't really hear it talk about by anyone other than how much money the Trumps are making off of it. But yeah, I hear you. We need to keep on them. Yeah. If you feel that they're oblivious or they're not maybe addressing something, then I guess we the people need to just keep sort of barraging them with postcards and phone calls and make sure we put this on their radar. Mad Mac is there. Hey, Mac, are you sure it was barf? Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. There was no sex going on. There was no beating off going on. It was barf. I remember the situation. So, but Jill Breton, thank you so much for your comments. Jill says I'm too clumsy to put my message in the super chat, but I appreciate the super chat and I appreciate your comments because they're valid and they are thought provoking. So I appreciate you. Roxanne says, Jill, I agree. They are so stagnant and out of touch. Well, yeah, I think you're painting with a pretty broad brush there. I don't think AOC is stagnant or out of touch. I don't think that even James Tillerico, I don't think he's stagnant or out of touch. I mean, we could probably start, naming a whole bunch of ones I think aren't stagnant or out of touch. So, and I think it's, I think we're seeing those type of politicians, Jasmine Crockett, things of this nature, Jamie Raskin. I think we're seeing their style of politics kind of rubbing off finally onto Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, because I think they are finally getting it. They do these last few weeks. They've seemed to be a little more in tune. I think maybe it's just me being hopeful. I don't know. Twister says that's awesome, John. That's huge. Yeah, we got the million views. 1 million views. Christina says that's great. Thank you, Christina. Aaron says, yippee, John, you want 1 million views. Thank you so much. Again, couldn't do it without any of you guys. It's all because of you guys. So thank you. Roxanne 79 says, I saw that, TJ. Congrats on 1 million views. Thank you, Roxanne. Robert Perez from down San Diego way. Good to see Robert. Robert says 1 million views. Yippee. Terry Taylor says, hey, TJ and chat, I loved your story about winning The College Writing Award, TJ, and congrats to you 1 million views. Thank you, Terry Taylor. Thank you so much. And again, thank you, for watching. Michael McAndrew says, "Have your dandelions ready. 1 million dandelions will be hard to eat all at one time." Hey, if I cook them in cooking oil, vegetable oil, and salt the fuck out of them, at least they'll be tasty. Christina says, Ghost Squad says, laughing out loud, I had to look at my views, and now I feel sad. 201,458 laughing out, and I'm doing this gosh darn 8 years and maybe 9 at this point. Well, 201,000, that's nothing to sneeze at. That's pretty good. 201,000. I think that's pretty good. Michael McAndrew says, 2 of my e-bikes locked and battery in. My newest e-bike has the battery built in. So I'm just wondering, like, if you go to the store, and you're going to do some shopping and you leave your bike outside, like, do you lock it? Lock it down? Twist Nerve says there is a long list that need to go to the Hague, John. The entire regime and all his close allies like Netanyahu. Yeah, there is a big list. That's for sure. Michael McAndrews, to keep up with my wife, I had to buy an e-bike. Josh sees the fart is coming from inside the house. The fart is coming from inside the cab, is what you should have said. Anyhow, DPD 5844 says CBS has decided to cancel CBS Saturday Morning. I think they should put cartoons on there. Remember the old days, and you would get up on Saturday morning. It's kind of funny how all during the week you never wanted to get up early to go to school, but on Saturday you'd get up early, get you a bowl of Lucky Charms, and turn on the TV and start watching cartoons at 7 in the morning. That's what I would do a lot. Like, this is like in my, elementary school days. Watch fucking the Bugs Bunny cartoon hour and all that shit from about 7 till about noon for like 5 hours, watching cartoons, eating Lucky Charms. So that they should bring that back. I know you guys are like, what the fuck is he talking about? We need news. We need fucking news at Saturday morning. God damn it, John. What the fuck are you talking about? Cartoons. Hey, weren't we talking earlier about sometimes you got to take a break, a mental break? I say bring back the cartoons Saturday morning. Fucking 5 hours of cartoons. The world will be a better place, I think. Twisted Nerve says the Democratic leadership isn't oblivious. It's hip deep invested in crypto. Crypto, are they? I didn't hear about that. I've heard about the Trumps being in it. DPD 5844 says, and John Dickerson has decided to leave CBS Evening News. It's good to know that some journalists still believe in ethics, decency, and truth. Where are they going to go? I mean, we need to have. I was just thinking about this morning, I think, because like how the Washington Post isn't what since Bezos took over, he's made that into a total shit rag. New York Times has been disappointing. I mean, and we see all this stuff, of course, in cable news and in broadcast news. Where are the journalistic principles? And are the next generation of journalists, so-called journalists, news reporters, are they going to adhere to journalistic principles? That's what you learn in college. How many journalism majors are we going to have that actually read the news and or go out and get stories and report on things? I mean, I'm just wondering, what is the state of our, of our news reporting, our news gathering? It doesn't look good, does it? And so when this guy leaves, John Dickerson, who's going to replace him? Like, wasn't there talk of fucking that asshole from Fox News or something? I mean, is that what we're going to get? So I don't know, man. What's the state of our news? It doesn't look good. Where are we going to get information? Where are we going to get good, reliable, trusted news that we can have reasonable confidence is actually been vetted and checked and rechecked and verified, cross-checked. I mean, that's what you do as a reporter. And I think that stuff is just being replaced with propaganda. I mean, we've known Fox News as a propaganda machine and propaganda outlet for the right wing. And these once trusted news outlets are just being bought up by oligarchs like Jeff Bezos and whomever. And it's really sad. It's sad. But it's also more than sad. It's dangerous. Because where are we going to get our news as a nation? As a nation, as a group of citizens, as a whole, where are we going to get good, reliable news, good, reliable information that's trusted as being true and not being not even propaganda, but not being so biased? And one thing that really bugs me, and I've had teachers tell me this, I've had journalism teachers tell me this, and English teachers tell me this, that there's no such thing as being objective. Reporters always have a bias. There is no such thing as objective reporting. To which I say, "Fuck you," which could explain some of my grades not being as good as they should be. To which I say, "Fuck you. You're the biased one, bitch. You can be unbiased. You can put your political beliefs aside when you write a story, when you're writing a news story. If you're doing an op-ed, that's different. But if you're doing a news story, you're covering a politician, you're covering a news conference, you're covering an event, and if it's especially if it's a political event and it has, Governor Newsom or whomever, you can put your political biases aside. You can be a professional, especially if you're a professional and you're doing this for a living and you're a news gatherer, you're a news reporter. You can put your fucking political views aside. You can be unbiased. I truly believe that you can. And if you can't, then you're weak. And you have no business being a reporter. If you can't do an objective news story, I'm not talking op-ed, I'm not talking entertainment, I'm not talking sports, I'm not talking even finances, although you should be objective there too. But I'm talking straight up news. You're reporting about a fire at a house in a residential area. You can be completely objective. But according to some of these teachers, every story, getting a cat out of a tree, the robbery at the liquor store, everything is biased to them. These motherfuckers are teaching that everything is biased. That there is no such thing as unbiased and objective reporting. To which I say, fuck you. You are full of shit. You can be. If you can be objective, you can report the story without putting any of your political views into it. But these motherfuckers, it pisses me off to this day. And this is decades ago. I've dealt with these motherfuckers. You can be objective. And I think we need objectivity. We need to be objective. This is a talk. This is a live stream. I'm not being objective. This is me. This is not a news. This is not the CBS News or the. This is not news. This is a little talk show or whatever you want to call it. This is YouTube. This is just me talking with you guys, and we're just shooting the shit here in the driver's lounge. This is not. This is a place for bias and opinions. But if I was doing a news story, if I was a news reporter, and I'm doing a news story, I could put all of my biases aside and just report the news. I can be unbiased. Anyhow, it's one of my pet peeves. Robert Perez says, have you heard, Johnny, that Trump admin is going to put spyware in the internet to weed out the people of America who write or speak ill of the Antichrist Trump? I hadn't heard that. Thanks for bringing it to my attention. Joe Breton says, I moved my retirement fund to EU and bonds. Still may have some exposure, but only 20%. Marty Balcom says, crypto is useful for huge drug dealers, traffickers, and unaliving people. Yeah, it's a great for black market things, right? Christina Son of Ghost Squad says, oh, thanks, John. It's not bad, but now you have me thinking I have to find how to get to 1 million. Well, I got lucky, actually. I mean, if you saw, I posted the thing. I think it had on the bottom of the picture, it showed a couple of my top videos. I got really lucky. Almost a third of my views are from that Kamala Harris, Tim Walz campaign stop that they had here a year ago, August in Vegas when she was running for president. That's got almost 300,000 views and growing. It gets, every day people are still viewing it. That got almost 300,000 views right there. So if not for that video, I would still be at only like 700,000. So it helps to get lucky and get sort of like a viral video or something. And then my next one was Feet on the Dashboard, which got almost 100,000 views. And that was the movie I made, my short film. So between Kamala Harris and Feet on the Dashboard, that was like 400,000 views right there. That's almost half of my views are either because of Kamala Harris and because of my movie. So, and then from there it really drops, and it's all little videos. 1,000 here, a couple thousand there, a few thousand there. And so that's kind of amazing to think that almost 500,000 views are from all these little videos, getting 1,000 views, 2,000 views. So, anyway, I need a few more to go viral though. If I want to get to 2 million, I need to get some more viral videos going. Let's see. David Dog says, my friend just came over with a box of ramen, crackers, and spicy mustard. He hit up the food bank, and this is the stuff he doesn't eat. Free food, I'll take it. I like ramen. I like ramen too, but I can't eat it like every day. I mean, because one time I bought a big box of just like a couple of noodles. I guess that's not ramen, is it? And I put it in the truck. This is like years ago, and I put it in the truck because I thought, oh, this will be easy, something easy peasy I can make in the truck. Just heat up some water and eat it. And then I ended up having that case. It was like a case in my truck for like years and years and years because I ate a few of them, and after a while I was like tired of it. Anna Moore says, you are welcome, TJ, on your 1 million views. Yippee. Thank you for providing such wonderful platform for people my age, 50 plus, and for having great discussions that we can all relate to. And again, thank you for being here, Anna Moore. I appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out. Elizabeth Martinez says, I like the cartoon idea. Yes, thank you. If they're gonna take their Saturday news show off, replace it with cartoons. I'd rather see cartoons than replace it with fucking Brett Baer or whatever, or some shit like that, you know. Christina and Son Ghost Squad says, did you guys see the news of an ICE raid at a children's Halloween party where they used tear gas? I don't remember the tear gas. I think I heard about that. Like I was reading the blurb or whatever. And I just thought, oh my God. These ICE motherfuckers are just, you know, such dirtbags. They don't give a fuck about kids. They're just heartless fucking racists. Let's call them out. They're just fucking total racists. And they are Trump's little goon squad. And talk about that thing about the Hague and a long list. These motherfuckers belong there too. Mrs. Fox, on Sundays there was Bugs Bunny at 6 p.m. I don't remember that. In the winter they would have curling on before Bugs Bunny. The curling would always go. See, this is Canada. You guys are a whole different fucking animal. Says the curling would always go into extra. We don't watch curling in America. The curling would always go into extra innings. I didn't even know they had innings in curling, and cut into Bugs Bunny, evil curling. Okay, my Bugs Bunny experience was never at 6 p.m. It was always in the fucking morning, or it could be in the afternoons after school. There might be some cartoons after school stuff, but on Saturday mornings, it was Saturday mornings. Mr. Falk, on Sundays there was Bugs Bunny at. Oh wait, did I just read that? I did just read that. Yeah, we didn't do that here in America. It was different for us. Yeah, Jossie says, Christina, I saw the headline about that. Twisted Nerve says Christina and Sun Go Squad, that was so sickening. They really have become the SS. And again, I think it's appropriate to do that. Like that's what led me on my whole tangent about telling your story about my writing thing, is because I compared our campus security to the SS, and I felt like maybe to compare campus security to SS and what the SS did, the atrocities that they committed, during the Holocaust, that was probably me being going too far, and I probably shouldn't have done that. But I think in this case, with ICE and what we're seeing them do, they've already killed. There already have been some deaths reported, right? So I don't think that we are being, hyperbolic when we compare what's going on with the Trump administration and with ICE and him going into these cities like that and just attacking people. I don't think we're being hyperbolic. Just so you know. Mad Max says, I truly believe that journalists are afraid for their jobs, because most of the news companies are owned by maggot-loving billionaires. That is why you only see pushback from European journalists now. And they're afraid for their jobs. And that's why it got me to thinking, though, like, where do they go what's going to happen? Because some of the big names maybe are quitting, and there are some big name writers with the Washington Post that have left, and you've seen other defections elsewhere, and so it leads me to believe, or leads me to wonder, like, okay, those writers, they're going to write. Where are they going to go? Where that gets out? It's one thing to put a podcast out, I don't know, and maybe you get a few million viewers there, but what is going to happen to journalism, like, across the country, all across the country? Because it's been really as long as this country has been in existence that there's been things to read, like trusted sources, and journalism has been a really big part. News reporting, news stories. newspapers have been a really huge part of getting information out to the masses. Okay, now we have, digital media, but it's really not regulated very well, and it's really like a wild, wild west, and it's like so much shit and falsity and bullshit is getting out, and people are buying it and believing it. So that's my worry is like, how do we get that good, trusted news out to the masses? Because right now the masses, and it's been going on for over 20 years with Fox News and everything, but getting that Fox News bullshit propaganda. But I don't know, is it too late? Are we too late now to try to make something that gets good, reliable, trustworthy, objective reporting out to the masses? But as long as we have these oligarchs that own all of the media, I guess I feel like it's impossible. And that's what we're facing. That's the battle we're facing, is misinformation. That's what got us Trump in the first place in 2016, is misinformation and disinformation. That's what Putin is using to beat us with, not missiles and military action, but it's disinformation campaigns, influence campaigns. So I guess that's what I'm afraid of, and that we're not going to be able to ever get good, reliable, objective reporting out to the masses, because they're already so locked into this right-wing bullshit, propaganda, and just out and out lies that they put out. And maybe that's why I do this show in a way, even though this is a very much opinionated show. It's very it's not objective. It is very biased. I'm not doing this as a news reporter. This is not a news show, but I do try to put out stuff, especially in the intros. I try to put out stuff that I think is newsworthy and that should get out. It should be publicized more. That's why I do those intros. I think those are things that the masses need to see. And I'm doing it, 50 people at a time. Some of those intros only get 20 or 30 views, so I don't know. But we need, I guess what we need is more Midas touches or something. Even though I don't really watch Midas Touch Network all that much, because they kind of turned me off, because they get so clickbaity, but maybe that's what you got to do to get they've cracked the code, I guess. You got to be clickbaity and to get the eyeballs, But I do think what they report is sound. I'm not sure if it's completely unbiased or not, but at least it seems to be truthful. We need to get the truth out there, and so many people are not getting the truth. Bonnie Malcolm says, I like that skunk Pepe Le Pew. Years later, I realized he was a predator pest. I know, me too, Bonnie. I used to think those were funny cartoons, and then later people were like going, Pepe Le Pew was like, like a real predator, like you say. And then I was like, oh yeah, I guess he was. Huh? DBD 5840, they can always go to YouTube or Substack. Mainstream media is gone. Weiss wants Brent Bear. Yeah, Brent Bear. Did I say Brent Bear? Brent Bear to host CBS News. What the fuck? Walter Cronkite and Aaron Murrow must be turning over in their graves. Twist Nerve says, Trucker John, all of our mainstream media outlets, television and print, are owned by a few billionaires now. I go to sources outside the U.S., Canadian, Japanese, French, and German media. Who owns them? It's not billionaires, I guess. Anna Moore says, Saturday was my cartoon day, followed by Bruce Lee movies. Michael McAndrews says, nowadays, the news would report the house fire down the street was Biden's fault. Right. Yeah. That's a good one. David Dog, I used to love the Tarzan movies on Saturday morning until my mom kicked us out of the house for the day. Yeah. That's what my mom would do too. It's like, okay, come on, get out of here. Enough cartoons. Get out and move around. And I would go out and I would play baseball with my cousin. TBD 5844 says, it does make you wonder how these so-called journalists can look their families or themselves in the eye, knowing they have been willing and active participants in the demise of our democracy. Mud is here. Hey, Mud, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. Doug is here. Hey, Doug. It says, you ride the e-bike in the store, I would. Well, maybe you could. It's kind of hard to shop and hold the e-bike. I guess if you were on the three-wheeler, maybe you could ride it in. I don't know if they want you riding those in the stores. Maybe you just do it until they tell you not to. I don't know. Barney Balcom says, now the news was woke. I grew up with Huntley Brinkley Report and Tom Brokaw on TV. Yeah, I remember those guys. Huntley Brinkley. I remember Cronkite, John Chancellor. Yeah, I remember that. That's who we watched every night at dinner. Basically, it was one of those. We weren't loyal to just one, like network. It was like kind of whatever the dial was closest to. Because sometimes it was Walter Cronkite, sometimes it was Huntley Brinkley, or sometimes it was, I think John Chancellor was a big one, right? Michael McAndrews, I hope Fancy's doing okay. Me too. I haven't seen her in the chat. I know she's been posting stuff, and she says she's doing better. And I think, didn't they finally release her out of the hospital? So I think she's doing better. But yeah, our thoughts go out to Fancy. Hope she's. I don't know. I still don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on, but I just hope that she's doing well and on the road to recovery. DPD 5844 also, George fake ass Clooney is apparently upset because word got out that Sir George received a BJ from Maxwell. I wonder what else he's hiding. He got a beej from Maxwell? Wow, when was that? I mean, if you got a beej from Maxwell, then it seems like that kind of almost indirectly connects him to Jeffrey Epstein. So what's going on with that? This is the first time hearing of it. Twist Nerf Painting says, I'm almost up to 45,000 views now. Just hit 275 subscribers, and I have to thank you, Trucker John, all the folks, and the Truckers Lounge for helping that. Absolutely, guys, go out and check out Twisted Nerf Paintings. It puts out great content. For sure. Joe Bratton says, I was never more proud of my trying to be anti-racist than when a black man said I was woke. Did he say you woke? Buddy Balcom says, Joe Bratton, 3,400, good on you. We just need to be decent people. Decent people. Alrighty then, just skip it on down. We are over 2 hours. I should probably start wrapping things up here. Mr. Spock, I'm sorry. Curling is extra ins. Oh, not innings. Yeah, every now and then I'll watch curling like at the Winter Olympics, and it looks like a fun game to drink, to have a few beers with the guys, and do some curling. I don't really see it as an Olympic event, but hey, whatever. It involves ice, so doing it on ice. So I guess it should be in the Olympics then. Alton Gillespie from deep in the heart of Texas. Howdy, TJ. Hello, Alton Gillespie. Good to see you. Ivy Joe Rains is here. Hey, Ivy Joe. Good to see Ivy Joe. Good to see you. Twist Nerve says Trucker John 3. When I compare ICE and the SS, I compare how both forces are militarized, federal law enforcement without restraint or restriction of law. And when I compare them, I compare how they're both ruthless and very bigoted and really have no souls. That's how I do it. Twisted Nerve says it was the fact that led the SS to be able to commit the atrocities they did. Mr. Buck, I drink beer. Oh, there you go. There you go. Mud says technology makes totalitarianism. I used to write. Yeah, possible. Technically, we have to keep that in mind. No, it's not too late, but we're at another hinge point. Yeah, let's not give up. Let's not give up. Alton Gillespie says it's a struggle. Joe Brent says journalism, yes, but kudos to the Chicago judge. Wear your body cam. Do not use tear gas, and come in to this office every day and tell us what force you used. DPD 5844 says it also makes you wonder about the liberal and progressive billionaires like Mark Cuban, David Geffen. They would choose to invest money in sports franchises instead of independent media. I'm not sure. I mean, Mark Cuban, I've liked Mark Cuban. There's a lot of stuff he's said and talked about. He's talked shit about Trump, and I like that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know too much about David Geffen. Is he he's probably one of the Dodger owners, probably, and I didn't even know that. But yeah, I don't know, because I know Tom Hartman talks about this a lot, about how when I was at Cumulus or Clear Channel or whatever one that Mitt Romney is part of the ownership there. And I remember this happening a lot back in like 2010, 11, 12. It was when Obama was president, and they started buying up all these stations, especially ones if they were playing like Air America type or anything progressive or liberal programming. They were buying up these stations, and they were turning them either into more Rush Limbaugh stations, or they were turning them more into sports talk, even though they already had a Rush Limbaugh channel, and they already had a bunch of sports talk channels in those markets. They were buying out those stations and flipping them right to those other things. And I remember Tom Hartman going, that would have been a great time for some liberal billionaires or even multimillionaires or anyone that had money that was a liberal or could get a group together. That would have been a great time for them to buy more stations and to keep those stations and to build up a good network of at least liberal and progressive programming. But I'm not even talking about that, actually. I mean, I think that would have been good. And I would, like when Rush Limbaugh at his height was probably on 1,000 stations across the country. Even Glenn Beck and Sean Hannity and even O'Reilly, and, all those motherfuckers, they were on 700, 800, 900 stations. They probably at some point topped 1,000 across the country. They were in multiple stations in the same market. They play their stuff 24/7. no days off. I mean, they would rerun shows, but a lot of those stations would just keep running that stuff constantly. It was a constant barrage of that right wing propaganda, and so I mean, I guess it would be nice to have a liberal or progressive and or network that was equal to that. It was on 800, 900, 1,000 stations, and we had our blowtorch going 24/7, 365. That then at least there would be some kind of equality there. Now, of course, there probably aren't that many stations. So let's say I don't know how many radio stations there are, but if you had 1,000 that were playing Rush Limbaugh and all those other characters I mentioned, I don't know how many other stations are left. But the point is, if there was an equal amount, let's say you had, roughly 500 of the lefties and 500 of the righties, or 1,000 lefties and 1,000 righties, whatever. If it was more equal, and they were doing like the same amount of stations, same amount of markets, same amount of days and hours of programming, then I think we would see a lot. I think we would see a big difference in some of the attitudes and just the basic sort of knowledge base of our country. But really what I'm talking about is as far as saving journalism and saving news, I'm not talking about liberal programming. I'm talking about objective, being just objective, just news, straight news, not right, not left. I think we need good, reliable reporting, and whether it's broadcast news on ABC, NBC, CBS, and even with cable outlets, we need straight news. But the thing is, apparently that's not sexy enough, or that's not exciting enough. That's not captivating enough. That's not entertaining enough. And so news was switched from being news to being entertainment. And that's a mistake. And that's what happens, I guess, when you just have the oligarchs running all that shit. There needs to be, that's why I guess there needs to be regulations and things of this nature to keep the news. And you shouldn't be able to call yourself news if you're running it as entertainment. So I guess my issue is we don't really have news anymore. We just have entertainment. Like we don't get enough entertainment from all the other entertainment sources. Then the news has to be entertainment. I mean, whatever happened to people just wanting just to have a thirst for knowledge, a thirst for wanting to know the truth, a thirst for wanting to know what's going on, why the old who, what, why, where, and when. That's your basic building blocks of a news story. Who, what, why, when, and who, what, why, when, where. I'm probably repeating some of those W's, but you know what I mean. That is those are the building blocks and the foundation of a news story. And that's really all it should be. It doesn't have to be glitter. All those glitter, it ain't always like my song, right? It's like, what is wrong with people? They can't, that everything has to be a fucking big production or something. Just have a natural thirst for wanting to know the truth. That's what people need to get back to. Anyhow, Twisters, I don't know, John. You sort of nailed why I haven't been attracted to Midas Touch. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I don't mean to bash them all the time, but I do. I do bash them a lot. Not really bash them, but I'm kind of somewhat critical of them. But I'd rather have Midas Touch Network around and being successful than some right wing thing, Mud says, "Yep, same here. There's so much crying wolf these days. When something really bad happens, how bigger can their damn text be?" Bonnie Malcolm, I don't watch Midas Touch. They don't try highlighting other progressive content creators. Twisted Nurse says France 24 and DW News are funded by their respective governments with tax revenue. Yeah, and if we did that here, then especially the right wing would complain that this is government sponsored news and that this is the government trying to force their point of view on you or something like that. I'm sure there would be criticisms like that. Twist Nerf says NHK is Japan's sole public broadcaster. WD 5844. And that's bullshit to believe there's no money in this form of investment either. They care or they don't care, and the more the Nazis grab media and news organizations, the more power they gain, and we lose. Ivy Joe Rain says, have a nice day. Might pop in here and over next week. Be safe. Thank you, Ivy Jones. Rains, you be safe as well. You be safe as well, and we'll be here. Unless I don't. Unless I'm not. Sharky, hey, Paul Sharky Manion's here. Good to see you from across the pond. Paul Sharky Manion says, hello, TJ and truckers. Well, Trump has backed down to President Xi, a complete dickhead. Christina Weibel says that Fancy is home and was in Christina's chat last night. That's good to hear. She's home and doing better. I'm glad to hear that. Hey, Brooklyn, SJU. Where you been, Brooklyn? Says hi, TJ and truckers. Hello, back at you, Brooklyn. What do you? I had some people in my cab last night that were from New York City, and they said because they asked me where I was from, and I said California, and she goes, "Oh, you got a California accent," and then I go, "So where are you guys from?" And she goes, "Well, we're from New York City. Can't you tell?" And then one of the guys in the car goes, "Yeah, forget about it." We laughed and had a good time. I go, "Yeah." I can tell. I can tell now. Twist Nerf says, and you are dead on with that comparison as well, John. See, now I'm mid-thread. I'm a little bit down. That was some not exactly sure what comparison I made. Elton Gillespie says Cuban could be doing much more. Yeah, you're probably right. Absolutely. I mean, absolutely could. Brooklyn says, I see our names are different. Yeah, and it seems to be mainly on my channel. I see other channels where it's not happening. I don't know what the deal. I don't know why. It's a YouTube thing. I don't know why. Paul Sharky Manion says, for America to not have a universal health care is shit. All the pharmacists will still not lose anything money. Yeah, it is shit. And someone was talking earlier in the show about lobbyists, about lobbies and lobby groups, and that is I think why we don't have universal health care. We don't have a national health care system. It's because of these goddamn lobbyists basically buying off politicians to get everything tilted to them, to their favor. And that's what is keeping us from having a good national healthcare system. It's because of lobbyists. And so we need to stop that. Brooklyn says, I get my news from TJ. Well, God help you. Although my intros, I think, are pretty, bring out a lot of good issues and things in a very short, concise way that hopefully will spur people to maybe look into these things further. Mud says Dems need to shake things up as much as possible when they come back in. Purge the government from Trump's people, for one. Demolish the Epstein balls room. Prosecute ICE, etc. We do not need another fucking Merrick Garland. Yeah, I know. Fucking Merrick Garland. Fuck that motherfucker. You're absolutely right. We do not need another fucking Merrick Garland. Fuck that milquetoast little fucking wimp. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Oh, that's just his personality. He's not, outgoing or whatever. Fuck that. That's no excuse for letting Mitch McConnell off the hook. That's no excuse for letting Donald Trump off the fucking hook. So fuck Merrick Garland. Yeah, I hate that fucker. Thanks for bringing it up. Joe Brandt, support PBS and NPR. I do $16 per month, just like Netflix. Professor T on PBS is awesome. Twist News says, absolutely, Trucker John well said, the news isn't entertainment. It never should have been considered it by any network. Yeah, it should be like a responsibility to get out just good, objective, honest fucking news, man. You know? DBD 5844 says the broadcast news that speak the truth. It's also fucked up that the faux news like CNN and others make a boatload of money by reporting on Trump. And that's what got him, helped get him in office in the first place. They covered him so much that they said that's the equivalent of getting like $3 billion worth of free advertising, right? Isn't that what the number was? And that we kept hearing. And it's just ridiculous to think, this is the old, if it bleeds, it leads mentality. And that is a long time journalistic policy. But in this case, it was like, if it's a clown show, it leads. I know it doesn't really roll off the tongue. But if it's Trump was like a train wreck. He was something you couldn't take your eyes off of. Apparently, at least that's the way these networks felt, and then especially the cable news networks, and they covered Trump's every fucking move, and so much to the point where you didn't almost even know anything about the Democratic candidates. It was so biased, so tilted. Such a double standard, it was sickening. It's really sickening, because then that leads to like every thing about Trump, and not fact checking him and giving him so much coverage that he'll say some shit about at that time maybe Hillary Clinton. And later on about Biden, he'll just say all kinds of shit, terrible shit, and never get questioned about it, never get any pushback on it. And then meanwhile, Hillary Clinton will they don't like her laugh, or Joe Biden, they didn't like because he stuttered, he messed up a word, and then they give that all the play. But on the other hand, when Trump is stuttering over words and mispronouncing words and saying really stupid shit, barely gets a blip. That's the double standard, and that's not fair reporting. It's just disgusting. It is disgusting. Twisted Nerds, we need to ban all donations by corporate interest and anything over 10,000. Well, we've tried to get campaign finance reform, and the Republicans keep killing it. Even if we have bipartisan, we had John McCain work on it with Democrats and with either with Kennedy or whoever. We've had, or maybe it was Russ Feingold, and we've got all kinds of finance campaign reforms that we've been trying to get in, and the Democrats will always kill it. I mean, the Republicans will always kill it, and maybe a few Democrats like Joe Manchin probably, or Max Baucus or some asshole like that, which is unfortunate. But yeah, we need campaign finance reform. I think we need public financing. We need all that shit, absolutely, and I think most Democrats are on board with that. We just need to get the numbers. We need to override vetoes and override filibusters and all that kind of shit. We need the fucking numbers, folks. That's why voting is important. Voting has consequences. Elections have consequences. And if we give up and we stop voting, that's not going to help, because then we see that gives them the power. Us giving up and not voting is what got us Trump right now, because 16 million or 19 million people gave up. We can't give up. When you give up, you get a Trump. When you show up, we get a Biden. And I think Biden did pretty good, damn good. I cannot. I remember, and I think a lot of people have forgotten how Joe Biden was being compared to FDR. You guys remember that? And now people shit talk him. Even our own side shit talks Biden. And we were calling him FDR because we were saying how progressive he was. And he was getting all this shit through, and he was able to get fucking infrastructure bills through, and Chips and Science Act, and Inflation Reduction Act, and he did reduce inflation, and he did get new jobs, and he did raise wages. Joe Biden was doing some great things. And why? Because we showed up in 2020. We showed up, and we got a good president. When we don't show up, we get a fucking asshole like Donald Trump, who's threatening to really break apart and destroy everything that we've worked so hard to get. Well, what we do have, we've worked hard. We've taken decades and decades of blood, sweat, and tears to get where we're at. And in 10 months, this motherfucker that we have now is going to take it all away. And it's because people gave up. Don't give up. This is the whole fight rhetoric. We talk about fight, fight, fight. When we fight, we win. I like to say, when we show up, we win. When we vote, we win. When we don't give up, we win. Don't give up. We can't give up. Just like the Dodgers. I'm bringing this full circle. This is my weave. Trucker John weave. Just like the Dodgers. We can't give up. If we give up, we've already lost. We got to go into Game 6 bound and determined to win Game 6. Don't give up. It ain't over till it's over. But where the analogy fails is that eventually the World Series will be over one way or the other. But we cannot give up. Here in our lives across the country, we cannot give up. If we do, we will become the Soviet Union. We will become North Korea. We will become, some shithole, total shithole country. We will become subservient to authoritarianism and to dictatorship and to the oligarchs. No matter how much we think that they have a hold on us now, if we give up, they'll just take everything. So don't give up. We can't give up. All right, guys. So, whoops, what did I do? I don't know what I did there. With that, I guess we'll end the show. We're well over 2.5 hours. I know a lot of you guys have left. You're probably watching some fucking dude with a Boston accent or something. I think he might be on. I don't know. But thanks for those of you that stuck around. I do appreciate you for sticking around. I'll be on again tomorrow at 11 a.m. I don't know if Hal's going on because I know he's traveling. His dad's really sick. So, guys, those of you that pray, those of you that send out positive thoughts of healing, and go ahead and do that. Just send your best thoughts and wishes to Hal's dad. Sounds like he's in pretty bad shape. I don't know if Hal's on tomorrow. I haven't heard if he's going to be on tomorrow or not. But regardless, I'll be coming on at 11 a.m. tomorrow. I'll just do 11 a.m. regular time for me, and we'll see you then. We'll talk about stuff. How we do. We'll talk about stuff. DPD54 says someone should primary John Fetterman while he's roaming the hall spouting. The Democrats need to cave and think about the American people. I say this: fuck you, Fetterman. Find a cactus and sit on it. If they can get a good candidate that will win that seat, a good Democratic candidate, then I'm all for it. But if not, and they have polling, and they can. I guess they can figure shit out. If they think they could primary him, then I say primary him. But if not, I still think John Fetterman is better than getting Dr. Oz that was running against him, right? Wasn't it Oz? John Fetterman is still better than any Republican. Just remember that. But yeah, I mean, if he can be primaried and it looks like it would work, then I guess I'd be for it. But I'm also not for flipping seats back the other way or losing seats, I guess. So this just things is that's something to think about. I mean, I know we can just say, yeah, primary this person, primary that person, but you got to look into it a little bit more, I think. Anyhow, guys, I guess that's it for now. I think I covered everything to cover. For me anyhow. But yeah, I got some stuff. I got a few things to say to all those milk toasts. All those milk toasts out there that aren't voting and aren't showing up to vote. And all you people that voted for Trump. All you farmers that are crying now. All you people that are crying, there's even some people that are getting deported that voted for Trump. Fuck around and find out, man. Right? How's that? How's that find out stage feeling for you, huh? Yeah. That's what I gotta say. Fuck around and find out, man. I hope you guys learned your lesson. I really do. Really hope you learn your lesson before it's too late. Because otherwise, we're all going to get dipped in milk and eaten. Think of that. Did you ever think of that? That's all I got to say. That's all I got. Yeah, and I think that hopefully we're all going to come together. We need to come together. Let's think about marching peacefully. There are some events coming up, and I'm going to encourage Trucker John to start promoting those. I believe November 22nd is the next. I don't know if they're calling it No Kings, but I think it's a lot of the organizers from there are promoting the November 22nd event. Let's be there for that. Let's be there for all these marches. Let's get more and more people out on the streets. And I think that all of us, even the folks that supported Trump at one time, a lot of them are falling away. And I think once we start coming together and we peacefully protest together, that will have a huge impact. Huge impact. So let's keep protesting peacefully, and let's welcome that. We don't have to be so harsh like Tough Cookie was. We can welcome the folks, folks from the other side, if they're willing to come over. Let's welcome them with open arms, because we need them. We need them we need to come together if we're going to beat this tyrannical regime and these these right wingers that really don't like the Constitution. So we need to come together and let's do that. So I'm all for that. All right. And also, guys, I just want to say thank you guys very much for being here on the Trucker John channel and helping support the show. I do appreciate it. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please think about subscribing. Thank you, Paul and Tough Cookie. That was very nice, especially Paul. Paul's the more sensible one. Tough Cookie's a little rough around the edges there, but it is what it is. But anyhow, like you said, thank you guys so much for being here. I guess all that's really left is the words of wisdom today. So, guys, get your a pad out and a pen and get ready to write this down. Words of wisdom. Okay, you guys ready? In 3, 2, 1. Okay, guys. So just remember.
it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So I style of Easter, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid. But doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John Livestream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John Livestream. Yeah, the Trucker John Livestream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John Livestream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again.
Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs. Shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. In my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you wanna take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love, it's all about the thrills. It's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret, it'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. It's so damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot, you're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along.
Show's over. I'm out of here, folks. Bye.